Okay, this is, ooh, that's a little louder than I thought it would be. This is Supervisor Camarena. I'm going to bring this meeting to order at 4:30 on September 4th, 2024. And then, moving along, we'll have Nate do roll call.
Okay, when I call your name, please say present and speak into the mic, please. I'll start with Commissioner Crawford.
Present.
Commissioner Hubble.
Present.
Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Kinzelberg.
Present.
Commissioner Lashinsky.
Present.
Commissioner Malekian is absent. Commissioner O'Malley.
Present.
Commissioner Sue.
Present.
And Commissioner Yui is absent. Let the record show we have 7 commissioners present.
Then we'll move on to item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody can please stand and face the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Item number 4, special presentations and proclamations, which we have none today, I believe. So we will move on to item 5, which is oral communications and possible direction from staff.
Okay, we have one speaker today, Kelly McCormick. You have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Hello, I'm Kelly McCormick. I'm a public health educator with San Diego Alliance for Drug-Free Youth. And I want to say welcome to the new commissioners. I'm really excited to meet you and for the year ahead and all the great things you're going to do. And I know my colleague, Katie Papanyak, spoke last month about volunteer opportunities with Study Buddies, which is when any grade 9th through 12th grade, you can volunteer to be a mentor to a little buddy at an elementary school. And we're still accepting applications for Study Buddies. So if you or someone you know would be interested, it's really fun. We meet once a week for like 7 weeks, and you get a little buddy who looks up to you and pretty much idolizes you, and you help them with their homework and play on the playground and things like that. And we have team presenters. I know she spoke to you about that. That's for seniors who have always been substance-free, and they talk to 6th graders or middle schoolers about their experience with, still having fun and going to high school and not drinking or using drugs or vaping. And the thing I really wanted to bring to your attention today is that Young Leaders in Healthcare is getting started. The first meeting is, I believe, September 17th. And that is a great opportunity for students who are interested in healthcare careers. There are school-based chapters, and we have 26 high schools participating, including LCC and SDA, CCA, Torrey Pines. I don't think there's one at Pacific Ridge, but you could start one if you wanted to, if somebody goes there. But you meet in your school-based clubs, and you learn about different healthcare careers. It could be everything from, helicopter EMS to, doctor, nurse, physical therapist. We had somebody who was a physical therapist for rugby team talk about his career path. And so it gives you a lot of exposure to different careers you may not have even thought of. And we meet, in addition to the, school-based chapters, we meet once a month and hear from speakers in the field. So, and that's on Zoom. And it also gives you an opportunity to apply for the 5-week Scripps Hospital internship, which is really fun. You're not just like, making copies or doing like busy work or whatever. You're actually with the doctors and the nurses, when they're doing things, you're in the room with them. So you get to see a lot of cool stuff. And obviously it's great for your resume. So if you are interested in Young Leaders in Healthcare, contact the information on this flyer or, look for your school-based chapter. And if you have any other questions, I will be around. We also provide education on tobacco, marijuana, fentanyl, other drug education and drug awareness education. So thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you, Ms. McCormick. And then we will move on to item 6, changes into the agenda, which there are none. And so we'll move on to item number 7, approval of the May 1st, 2024 Youth Commission agenda minutes.
All right, Commissioner Lashensky motions to approve.
Commissioner Kelly seconds.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a vote to approve the May 1st, 2024 minutes. I'll start with, when you hear your name, please say aye or nay. Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Lashensky,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley, and Commissioner Sue.
Aye.
Okay, the May 1st minutes are approved with 2 absent.
All right, the next item is to approve the August 21st, 2024 Youth Commission Orientation Workshop minutes.
Commissioner Lashensky motions to approve.
Commissioner Kelly seconds.
Okay, we'll do another vote for the August 21st orientation minutes. Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Lashensky,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sue.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved.
Thank you for that. So next item on the agenda is our action items. So the first one is going to be our Youth Commission Chair and Vice Chair positions and the election of those people. So if you would like to nominate yourself, again, this position should be somebody who is pretty comfortable in some of our rules and regulations and feels comfortable leading this group as well as getting others involved. So if you would like to nominate yourself, this is the time.
Commissioner Lashensky nominates himself for chair.
Commissioner Sue nominates Commissioner Sue.
Is there anybody that seconds one of those nominations?
I second Commissioner Kelly seconds Commissioner Lashensky.
Okay. Since there's a second, we'll go with that motion first for a vote for Commissioner Lashensky to be chair. Starting with Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Lashensky,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sue.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Lashensky, you are chair.
Commissioner Sue, were you hoping to do vice chair? Is that what you were hoping to nominate yourself for?
I was hoping to nominate for chair.
Okay. We still have vice chair open, if anybody would like to nominate themselves or another.
Commissioner Kelly nominates Commissioner Kelly for vice chair.
Commissioner Lashensky seconds Commissioner Kelly's nomination.
Okay, since there's a second, we'll go ahead and take a vote for Commissioner Kelly to be vice chair. Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Lashensky,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sue.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly is vice chair.
All right, now that we've gotten through the chair and vice chair, thank you guys and congratulations. We will move on to the 24-25 work plan preparation. So this one's going to take a little bit more of our time. I'm going to move over to the camera so that we can kind of look at this a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of an outline of our previous plans. That's kind of small. You guys can't see that. One second. You can kind of see it a little bit more. So every year we have the work plan. We've kind of talked about this a little bit. We have different items each for small ad hocs that you're going to work on throughout the year. So let's kind of get into the discussion. Maybe some of our previous members can talk a little bit to some of these items, which ones we're kind of hoping to keep, which ones we'd like to switch around a little bit.
So Commissioner Lashensky here, just to give some context. So typically we have 9 sort of like ad hoc committees, and each one has roughly 3 people in them. So each commission will be a part of 3 ad hoc committees. And then, so I know Quaid, Commissioner Kelly, and I both have a few ideas, but I'll just echo a sentiment. I feel as though we have 2 relating to the environment. So I have a feeling that we can consolidate both of those into one to help remove us, to open up a space so that we can add in a new objective for any commissioners who want to do that.
Commissioner Kelly, I was wondering so I have a sheet with kind of a plan that I proposed. I have it. Can I give it to you guys or?
This is Manager Hamer. You would openly discuss it with the group and propose what you have on that paper, and then it would be decided and voted on whether the items get added or not. And I think the goal here is just working off what was last year and updating it. And I know one of the priorities for all our commissions within the department is to be creating bylaws for the commission, so that is a required item that we'll be adding to the work plan.
So looking at that so far, just for the one topic that we've talked about, let's say, so habitat stewardship / environmental volunteerism, is that something is that the way we want to combine that, or is there a different wording that we may want to use for that?
Yeah, I had it written down as just environmental stewardship because I know too late now, but I know last year we had it as we did both and we added that new one, and looking back, we just need the environmental stewardship or environmental volunteerism.
Commissioner Hubble, what would be the difference between habitat stewardship and environmental volunteerism? Why were they separate in the first place?
Commissioner Leszczynski, I think basically the idea, the whole concept of it was that we wanted to have one more focused on actual like environmental volunteering, so like going out, like de-weeding places, stuff like that, and the other one to be more focused on like bringing in guest speakers and doing that more so. But I think that now, considering that we realize that they're both very similar, and we ended up writing very similar things for both, there's no reason to keep them separate, so we might as well consolidate them.
And would we be able to do both aspects if it was consolidated to one item?
Yes.
Commissioner,
That all generally depends on the ad hoc themselves. So as you'll see in the outcomes section, we kind of talk about what the hope and plan is with that group. So we can write in there that we hope to go do an outside activity as well as get speakership.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly, another one was, so I was actually on this ad hoc last year, and I know I proposed to get rid of it, and we couldn't last year, was the speakers series. That was, I think, should be combined with civic engagement, and we can make it like the civic engagement and speaker series, because it felt like each individual group should be focused on getting their own speakers. And I know we brought up this conversation last year, but it was kind of hard to connect those two ad hocs, and the civic engagement series I think would ideally be bringing in the most speakers. So I would want to combine those two groups.
Commissioner Leszczynski, I love that idea. I think last year a lot of commissioners were on board with it. I'm not sure why it didn't go through, but yes, it was awfully repetitive when you had like a whole section devoted to just finding speakers for the other sections. It was completely semantical and not necessary at all. So I support that wholeheartedly.
Manager Hamer, I just want to give additional input. So that would be that everybody's aware that if you are on ad hoc, on top of whatever your item is, that means your ad hoc is responsible for getting a speaker for that group. And then you would work with Supervisor Camarena here to calendar it, because that's the other tricky part of speakers is, the order and who goes when. So you can't just say, we have a speaker, we're going to speak. It would have to be something calendared and set up properly. So just making sure everyone's aware of that little extra layer of responsibility.
Monthly meetings.
Another thing I wanted to add very quickly, Manager Hamer, is that engagement series is also the volunteering at events and activities. So we don't want to leave that out either.
Monthly activities. Okay. Explain that a little bit. Can you explain that a little bit more? So the month, that's the special events. Got it. Okay. My brain was a little bit slow. Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly, I had a question on that. So relating to civic engagement and speaker series, like the new one we're doing, is it possible we could separate the civic engagement from like the special events and almost make that special events like a separate ad hoc Because I feel like in a sense they're connected, but at the same time, I feel like that would be better to have as a separate ad hoc. It's like almost having a city special events where they're focused on like the movies in the park, the holiday parade, egg hunt, a summer engagement, and then one that I just did was the Democracy Exchange program, and kind of working with that group.
My only fear with that of making it an ad hoc is that that's a lot of events to put on 3 specific members, while your special events that we have on our calendar tend to fall to all of you. And so it gives more opportunities for everyone to get involved in those, and for you guys as individuals to go to each of those yourself. So maybe not adding an ad hoc to that specifically, just because that's a lot of events to put on 3 people.
Commissioner Hubble, I agree. I don't think it should be a separate ad hoc.
Okay, so civic engagement, e-bike safety, do we want to open that up to mobility, or is that, I don't know if we will be going back to mobility this year to speak with them again. Is that, actually, we will see how city council rules on that.
Commissioner Kelly, so are you saying relating to the Mobility Commission, or are you saying like relating to the title of the goal of the mission plan?
I apologize, that was a little vague of me. I was talking about both at the same time. So maybe adding in a mobility element, but only reason I was saying that is because in the past, City Council has asked us to give a presentation with that ad hoc to mobility. I don't know if that's going to be a requirement of them this year, but we will see what they add to your guys' list.
Commissioner Kelly, I think that maybe we should expand that to mobility and bike safety, because e-bike safety, because you still have, or maybe even just bike safety, because you still have the aspect of the bike safety in there, but you're just expanding it to mobility.
I agree with that. Oh, Commissioner Kinzelberg, I agree with that.
So e-bike and bike safety.
Commissioner Hubble, I think it's still very important, though, to make sure that we're emphasizing e-bike safety, especially since there's been so many incidents lately. So I think if we're expanding that to mobility in general, we need to make sure we're still focusing on e-bikes specifically.
Yeah, agreed. Commissioner Kelly, I think what I had written down was mobility, e-bike, and bike safety. So it's just like it's not just focused on bikes.
Is that what we're kind of hoping for? So mobility, e-bike, and bike safety? Any confirmations in the mic would be helpful, only because this is only recorded via voice.
Commissioner Leszczynski approves, and I'd also just like to open the floor. I feel like if any of you guys have like any ideas, since we've cut a few now, if you guys have any ideas for like potential alternatives to some of these, or like add-ons to the ad hoc committee, I think all of those would be good ideas, because I feel as though we have a few other places where we could cut down if need be. So if you guys have any ideas, feel free to say them.
This is Commissioner Sue. Just before another removal that I would recommend is the youth voter registration, because I was on that commission, and then last year we were having a hard time finding something to plan for that.
Commissioner Hubble, I disagree. I think especially since we're in election year, it's very important to emphasize that and make sure that we're getting people registered.
Commissioner Kelly, I think that I agree it's important, but I think it's also a part of the civic engagement. That was kind of what I was proposing, is that we don't remove it, but we simply move it into that category with the speaker series.
Agreed.
Commissioner Leszczynski, yeah, since I was actually on the commission the last time that we actually were in an election year doing it, the main thing I would like to add is that I feel as though there's a lot more to do in an election year, but I feel as though considering how much more we're giving to all these other ad hoc committees, I think it's a pretty good idea to either put it into a different one or find a secondary or tertiary add-on to this committee, like more objectives.
So what I'm hearing is that we're leaving this one separate because we do believe that youth voter registration is something that we want, or are we taking off the registration part and just making it more of a youth voter initiative? Do we want it broadened? Is that what I'm hearing?
Commissioner Leszczynski, I was just saying that, like, if anybody had any ideas to broaden it, then I think it should stay as its own, but I don't think I'm hearing any ideas to broaden it, so I think it's fine joining maybe civic engagement, yes.
I should note that outcomes can be edited as the year goes along. More at this part at the very front is what we want to kind of focus on. So if we are going to leave youth voter registration from what I'm hearing from most of the commission, then we'll leave that one for now.
Commissioner Kinzelberg, I do agree that it is maybe a little specific. I think we could do youth advocating or something like that.
Commissioner Kelly, I think that I agree that we could broaden it, but at the same time, it's so similar to the civic engagement. I think we should just make it, and while we're so broadening that civic engagement a lot, I say we just get rid of it and combine it with the civic engagement.
Commissioner Leszczynski, adding on to that, just so everybody realizes is that after like December-ish, there's nothing more to do with youth voter registration, or at least there hasn't been, because that's after the election, that's after the primary. The primary's already over, that's after the presidential election. So there's not a whole lot to do, you can't just sit around twiddling your thumbs, so it should probably just be added to one of the others.
Manager Hamer, I just want to add that if you're bundling everything under one category, that leaves 3 people to do those multiple layers of advocacy. And the reason there could be a benefit to having it broken up is that you're sharing the wealth of the work. And with 9 students on the commission, it's best to spread it out versus bundling everything together. I know it seems efficient, so I do admire that. You guys are being efficient. At the same time, that leaves those 3 people in civic engagement carrying the heaviest load of the different plans.
Commissioner Leszczynski, another thing we could do is we could think about splitting civic engagement up. If you guys also agree, I personally don't believe it's that much of a workload. But if you guys believe that splitting up into 2 separate, we could also split into 2 separate work groups so that they'd have a less harsh workload. And yet we'd still be able to save a lot of space by cutting out 2 to 3 the ad hoc committees and combining it all down into just 2 or 1.
Commissioner Hubble, I agree with Commissioner Kinzelberg that we could broaden out that youth voter registration to more of a youth advocacy platform where we could also just focus on the larger youth voice in the government. And that way we would be able to keep doing things in that ad hoc after the election season is over.
Commissioner Kinzelberg, that's kind of exactly what I was going for with, like, maybe learning about the government and learning what you can do to run for office or anything like that.
Manager Hamer, I think that's a great idea. And I also just want to point out, in your work plans, it might be a one and done. Your items on the work plan, we don't expect you to be working on it throughout your term. Often it might be the Habitat for Stewardship. They would help plant California native plants with the San Diego Botanic Garden, and then it would be done. So, don't feel like this is something you have to toil away throughout your term, but it's a goal that you set, and then once you complete it, you can move on or support the other ad hocs.
Commissioner Kelly, I think it's a good idea, but I do want to kind of point out how similar it is to civic engagement. I mean, youth advocacy and civic engagement, like, they might sound very different, but if you break it down just simply to its definition, they're very similar. Just pointing that out.
They aren't meant to be the same. So civic engagement, generally, if I could explain a little bit more, it is about government, but it's not about, so the voter and the advocacy is a little bit more on the policy side, while civic engagement tends to be more on the background of cities themselves and municipalities. So it's trying to understand what goes on on the day-to-day for the city of Encinitas versus the youth advocacy or the voter registration is more of the larger understanding of politics of sorts. Am I getting that somewhat right? Should say?
Manager Hamer here, it's up for you as the commission to define, what it means to you. But I do believe they can mean different things. And again, the goal is to have your 3 people on each ad hoc, spread the wealth, define it as you want, and take some ownership of it. These are your plans and your goals.
Commissioner Kelly, this is a question for Ms. Supervisor Caminera. Are we allowed to break down from 9? So I know we have 9 originally, and I know we're having this discussion about like the workload. And there's a maximum of 3, and I know in the past we did 9 because everyone would get 3, be in 3 ad hocs. Are we allowed to like break it down from there? Because I think that we're talking about that workload, and I think if you have less, then you can focus on individual ad hocs more because you're spread like through 3, and you have to do things for all 3 of them. So is it possible to maybe do 2 per?
Manager Hamer, I was just wanting to state, I think as a commission together, you guys make this decision, and we'll review all of this. And I don't think condensing everything is an idea, but if you want to remove some items and you don't think they're relevant to your demographic, your age group, you're representing students here in Encinitas, that would be up to you as a commission.
Commissioner Kinzelberg, Commissioner Kelly, are you saying that we would each do 2, groups?
Yeah, so Commissioner Kelly, relating to ad hocs, and I know this is a rule, you have to have a maximum of 3 people in each one. And what we were doing is the math is that if you had 9 groups, each person would be able to do 3. But I know, like, for me specifically, like, when I would focus on one ad hoc, which was my identified guest speakers, and I did much less compared to the other ad hocs. And I think that we should be focused on like one or 2 each. And I think that's why I'm saying consolidate, but it seems like we're not allowed to do that, or...
Commissioner Lashensky, if we were allowed to do that, I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think a good idea would be just removing 1 or 2. We'd be, instead of consolidating everything so everybody's in 2, because that just means that you're doing the same workload, but you're doing it. It's more compressed. You're working hard as you would in 3, but now you're just doing it in 2. I think conversely, we might just want to remove 1 so that you can have the people in civic engagement only be in 2, so that they'd be able to work more on civic engagement if we want to go the route that adds a lot more people to civic engagement. Because I think that compressing everything down to 2 would just make a lot of them encompass way more than one ad hoc committee should encompass. But yeah.
Manager Hamer, I just want to recommend, why don't we just keep going through the different items, and you can suggest your compressing, and as a group you can decide whether you want to do that or not. In the past, the department director also would make recommendations, so this is just a draft. We're not voting on it today, so we'll go back and review it again, and everyone will have time to think about it. So I think it's best to just go item by item. We can condense where you want to suggest, and then there's no rule of must be 9. All those things are just past precedents. They're not rules that you guys have to stick to. We want this to be something you take ownership of and that you can take pride in and that you should enjoy.
So moving on, it sounds like for number 6, the identifying speakers, we have kind of moved that into the civic engagement series, correct?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly, I know we're talking about replacing, and the one that, because it seems like we can't do city special events, but doing an arts initiative, because there's a lot with the youth. It's to art. So we had art night, which I volunteered at multiple times, and I had an absolute blast. There was a ton of youth there. And I think that, I know specifically on this commission, there's a lot of people that are excited about that. And I think that that would be a great addition. And another thing that looking back at my notes, I left out was that I think we should combine intergenerational programming and STEM engagement into one ad hoc as well.
So before we go back and move anything else, let's talk about the point that you just made, an arts initiative. Would anybody else like to add an arts initiative to your work plan while we're here?
Commissioner Kinzelberg, yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Hubble, yes.
Initiative.
And if I could add, I think there's a lot that we could do with this arts initiative, especially since the recent opening of the art center on D Street, I think. And I think this is something that I'm personally really excited about. I know Commissioner Kelly is really excited about. So I think that this would definitely be something that we could do a lot with.
Commissioner Kinzelberg, I do theater, and I think that doing some kind of play or something like that would be really fun for the community.
Commissioner Leszczynski, I also think it's just a good idea. It balances out. We have STEM engagement already. I think arts initiative, it just helps balance out the work plan.
Wonderful. Okay. And then the youth health initiatives. Is that something we'd like to keep on? I know that last year we had the Gracie Ibarra come in and work. I know that we were going to have another speaker come in on mental health. Did we end up, I can't remember if we had somebody come in and talk about mental health. Is that something we want to keep this year?
Commissioner Leszczynski, I think so. I think that's always been a meaningful commission every single year that it's been on. I think that even 2 years ago when it was just mental health, I think was also meaningful. So I think that it's really prevalent and it's really like important for the youth today. So I think we should keep it on.
Commissioner Hubble, I wholeheartedly agree. One of the things that I am most excited to bring to the commission is that passion for youth mental health. So I think this is obviously still an issue in our community, and I think that it would be very wise to keep that ad hoc.
All right. And then STEM engagement. Is that something we wanted to continue?
Commissioner Leszczynski, I think so. Just a little bit background. I came from the Bay Area where STEM is quite strongly encouraged. I think that everybody at my elementary school knew 1 or 2 programming languages. And when I moved down here, it was quite a disparity. On our school's robotics team, I'm one of 2 programmers. I think that programming is something everybody should know, especially considering AI and the prevalence of phones and more modern technology. It's important to know how this stuff works. So I feel like we should keep it on. And I think that a lot of the stuff we've done there has been really well attended. We've hosted multiple Python coding courses, which have been really well attended. In fact, I've actually updated the course setup, and I've actually taught it to a bunch of women and children in Afghanistan, where I've taught to over 1,000 people, and they were all incredibly receptive of it. Some of them have even been able to make a career out of it. So I think continuing that here would be incredibly useful for the youth.
Commissioner Sue, I think so too. Like David said, or like Commissioner Leszczynski said, that coding class was really good last year, so I think we should keep that ad hoc.
Commissioner Leszczynski, sorry, I just really like the ad hoc, but I think that another way to expand it is the library has a 3D printer. I know a lot of people don't know how to CAD. I feel like that's a really easy skill. It makes you more resourceful. You can repair your own materials. You produce less waste. I think that if Encinitas is striving to be a green city, that's another place where we can help cut out some waste.
Okay. And then the last one that we have on here is the bylaws development. That's something that all of the commissions are doing this year, which you will have an ad hoc to do as well. I can show you guys examples when we get into that a little bit more and for that group. So, from what I'm seeing, civic engagement, we've already talked a little bit about. Again, that is getting into the city and kind of getting to know what the city and how it works and what we do here, as well as the special events. We also have mobility, e-bike, and bike safety, so talking about those things a little bit more for the youth in the area. We have intergenerational programming so specifically that usually involves seniors and youth getting together and working together on different projects. In the past, we have done the techie tutors and the Commissioner Leszczynski.
We've also done an intergenerational game day. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, and intergenerational game days as well. We moved to, on number 4, we kind of combined the environmental stewardship. So that was to cover the environment as well as the habitat. So humanitarianism. Yes?
Manager Hamer, I did want to also touch base on this item because I know you want to bundle them. The habitat stewardship specifically was important, though, because of the updating of and those of you who have not been on the commission before, it would be an actual project that you would pull out the non-native plants and plant native plants. But on top of that, the city has a program that they are looking to develop that should be starting in 2025, which is habitat native garden demonstrations. That could be something you would also get involved with. So even though we're bundling it with environmental, it is really about the habitat stewardship. So I just wanted to note all those extra steps so it doesn't get lost in that, and that the ad hoc, we will build into that description so we don't lose the element of how important habitat stewardship is.
Okay. Moving on, we moved around and did the youth advocacy. That's supposed to encompass a little bit more of talking about voter registration and items that are important to youth in the area about voting and about getting your voices heard. So maybe we'll expand a little bit on that and outcomes later to come. And then number 6, we had arts initiatives. So working and partnering with the new arts facility a little bit more. Youth health initiatives, again, talking about mental health and health in general. STEM engagement, where we are working on STEM engagement, and then bylaws development, which is another piece added by the city, which is required this year. Are there any other initiatives that aren't specifically talked about already? So things that we don't really have on the list yet that you feel need to be added? Although we do have a really good list so far, I will say. Okay, I am going to take that. So at this point, thank you guys for all of your input so that we can kind of get a better idea. We're going to send this out this week in these different areas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to email you all individually and ask what ad hocs you are interested in. Give me kind of your top 3s and such, and then they will be assigned to you. I cannot guarantee that you're going to love every single ad hoc you are on, but they will get assigned and it'll go off of who emails me and gives me what they are kind of hoping for. Outside of that, we will take them to the director and we will take them to city council. They may add other things. As I said, last year they added on the side of the bike mobility side, they had asked that you guys present ideas to the Mobility Commission about school safety. So they might influence your outcomes or things on your actual list. So just understand that this is our draft and there may be things added by the department as well. So with that, I think we did a really good job here. So I think we're going to move on to the next piece. All right, next item is the Youth Commission meeting calendar. So this is really small. See if I can make this bigger. There we go. So this is our general meeting calendar. You will notice the January and the April meetings fall outside of they fall into your break schedule. So generally those are the 2 meetings that we move. Would anybody like to give ideas on if we would like to keep those there, or if we would like to move them? I will tell you January 1st does need to get moved. Generally the next week for January would be January 8th.
Commissioner Kelly, I know we've talked about this previously, moving it to Mondays, the last Monday of the month. And I don't know about for you guys, but for me, that's the best timing possible. I mean, it's the beginning of the week. Brains are fresh. And I know that we talked about this and it conflicts with holidays. And I know theoretically would be moving those dates. But I think also that at those times, times what happens is we go to the commission and then people don't volunteer for like the Nutcracker or some other, for example, I'm just going to December because there was the holiday parade, there was a Nutcracker, and Arts Night was in November, but I know there was another event, and I know I was, for the holiday parade, we all did that, but I know for the Nutcracker and the other one, I was the only one that volunteered for that. And I think that focusing on volunteering for those months where like maybe like, oh, we, like there's no time for like a meeting, but if we can all agree to go and volunteer at multiple events, maybe, I don't know if that works for you guys and if we're allowed to do that, but.
Commissioner Olszewski, sadly, the only day that works for me is Wednesday, as I have many other extracurriculars on those other days. To respond to your thing, I understand your concern about volunteering at events. However, I feel like with this commission, it would be a lot less of an issue due to having less seniors, so more urgency to actually volunteer and contribute. Along with that, I also feel like if, as a commission, we'd still be able to like confirm and volunteer on these events on Wednesday meetings. But what do you guys think? Are you guys okay with Wednesday, or would Monday be a lot better?
Commissioner Kinzelberg, Mondays should not work for me for a while because I'm in Scouts and we meet on Mondays.
Commissioner Kelly, it's okay. Like, because I talked to Manager Hamer before about this, and it's automatically one person. So if one person can't, because we've already all agreed to go on Wednesdays. So I think that, look, it's okay. I think we can let it go. I think we'll go with Wednesdays.
Commissioner Olszewski, but about rescheduling that January meeting, I know for Pacific Ridge, we have the 8th off of school, which makes the 8th quite a good day to do it. So what about you guys? Does the 8th of January, it's the Wednesday right after, does that work for everyone else?
Commissioner Hubble, I think the 8th works great.
Commissioner Yui, I know that I will not be here on the 8th, though I'll be here from the 11th on.
Okay. So generally the first, for that January 1st, that one is not generally available. We won't be here. The 8th sounds like it might be the best for now. I don't believe that we can move on to the next Wednesday or can we move to the third Wednesday?
Manager Hamer here. We would have to just check on availability. Probably chambers would not be available, so we'd have to find another room possibly. But I believe we can do that based on when the commission prefers to have the meeting. Yeah.
I get it. Nate, would they vote on it at this point for the January meeting? Is that something that
So yeah, they would vote on the entire meeting calendar with the exception of moving the January meeting to the 8th. That seems to be the consensus. So we would need a motion in a second to initiate that vote.
For the whole meeting or for all of the meetings or for the whole calendar or for just that one movement?
Both combined as their regular meeting calendar for the term.
Okay. The other question that we wanted to address as well is the April meeting. The April meeting falls in the middle of your break as well. Would you guys like to keep it on your break time or would you like it during your school time?
Commissioner Olszewski, I'd just like to say for the Pacific Ridge people, it is actually not during school. It is during school time. So yeah, our break is actually the week right after.
Commissioner Hubble, I also do not have the 2nd off of school. That is not spring break.
So the 2nd does work for you guys in April.
It should work for Commissioner Olszewski. So far, we've confirmed that it works for 4 of us. So.
Okay, so it sounds like the only meeting that we will be moving is the January meeting to January 8th. So now you guys would need to vote on the whole calendar itself.
All All right, Commissioner Olszewski motions to approve the 2020, the current agenda meeting calendar, I guess.
Commissioner Hubble seconds the motion.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a vote. Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Olszewski,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Sue,
Aye.
and Commissioner Yui.
Aye.
Okay, let the record show the motion passes to approve the proposed calendar with the exception of January 1st moving to January 8th.
Right, the last piece of action items. Here we go. The last piece of action items is to approve the 23-24 Youth Commission Work Plan.
Commissioner Olszewski motions to approve.
Commissioner Kelly seconds.
Okay, I'll go take another vote. Commissioner Crawford,
Aye.
Commissioner Hubble,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kinzelberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Olszewski,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Sue,
Aye.
and Commissioner Yui.
Aye.
Okay, the 2023-24 work plan is approved.
Thank you for that. So we will move on to the next item, which is additional items. That is updates from Recreation Services Manager Hamer.
Manager Hamer here. Hopefully you all had a chance to visit the new Pacific View Art Center. Programs are listed in our fall activity guide, and hours are Tuesday through Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I know you're in school Tuesday through Thursday, but the weekends, hopefully you'll have a chance to go visit and check it out. There should be a lot of opportunities, so it's really exciting, the enthusiasm you guys showed when you talked about an arts initiative. And I know our cultural arts team has come to the Youth Commission in the past with some different ideas of helping with art night and whatnot. So I know there's going to be a great opportunity to commingle some of those arts initiatives. And one of those could be at our movie in the park. So save the date. It's Saturday, October 19th. The animated movie is Scoob, and we'll be featuring that in Glen Park and that in the evening. But one of the really fun things that we do is we have some activities, and we might have like a mystery maze, and we're thinking of having people dress up in the Scooby-Doo characters. And I did hear possibly some actors or actresses might be in this crowd. So if you wanted to be one of the characters, you could help to just bring some life and fun and engagement to this family fun event. It'll be a costume event, and we had a lot of young children, and I know they really look up to people in your age group. So we'd love to have you as volunteers, or maybe even coming and play some of the characters. So save that date. Our Cultural Arts Division is hosting the Tremonto Music Festival. That's going to be at the Encinitas Library in the Community Room. That's September 12th, 13th, and 14th, and it starts at 7 p.m. in the evening. Tickets are available at encinitasca.gov/concerts. And if you didn't know, they also host concerts every Wednesday at noon. That music, even though you're in school, they do stream it into some of the public schools that can be heard in the libraries. So that is a great service that's offered every Wednesday. And as stated, I know you guys brought up the holiday parade. That's on Saturday, December 7th. The theme is creativity in motion. And for those of you who are new on the commission, the role that you play is you are the stewards of Santa and his float. So you make sure that Santa's protected from, children who want to run up and say hello, and you usually maybe hand out some different items of sorts, but it's a lot of fun. Please save the date. As Vice Chair Kelly had stated, most of our commission are there. It's a real great kind of bonding and fun community activity. So put that on your calendar, December 7th. And we're currently working on our winter activity guide. We're pulling together some different classes and programs. If you know of people who are interested in being instructors, whether it's for the arts or within recreation, we do have a proposal right online on our page, EncinitasParksandRec.com. And please point him in that direction. We're always looking for new and engaging opportunities and programs to offer to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to item 11, commission member initiated agenda items, which I believe we have none at this time. And then future agenda items added by commission members, which again, we have none at this time. So we'll move on to commissioner reports and roundtable. Commissioner Yui, would you like to start us off? This is the point in where you kind of tell us about updates from your school or anything that's happening in the community for you.
Commissioner Yui, currently at my school, we have all the football games. I don't know if that's going to be maybe something we could do. And then I believe that band is having a event coming up, and all the fall sports at La Costa Canyon.
Thank you. I apologize. I put you on the spot there. Commissioner Sue.
Commissioner Sue, all my classes started a couple weeks ago, so just getting started with the school year. And then I'm doing college applications as well.
Commissioner O'Malley, right now at our school, we started our football games and also fall sports. And in addition, we're going to have our club week coming up soon, so that'll be fun because they're all created by our students at Cathedral. So, and also at the end of the month, we're going to have our musical theater produced by our own CCHS drama students. So that'll be really fun.
Chair Lashensky, so we just wrapped up our first full week at PRS. Fall sports are in full swing. And we're also approaching Fall Fest, which is a yearly program hosted by PRS where all the student-run clubs can fundraise.
Commissioner Kinzelberg, I go to PRS too, and we have a 3-day play coming up soon, so be sure to come check that out. It's going to be cool. And then I'm also participating there's 4 student-led plays. Can't remember exactly when they're going to be performed, but I'm in one of them. And then at Moonlight Beach, there was a concert with our school band, True Blood, and that was pretty cool.
Commissioner Kelly, yeah. So tomorrow for water polo, we have the first game of the season against Army-Navy. That's going to be fun. And next week on Monday, we're playing LCC at their home pool, which is going to be fun. And I'm the leader of a service group at my school. And we have a highly anticipated dedication game for mental health for athletes with a group known as Morgan's Message on, let me confirm the date. You guys should come. It is September. Well, it's someday in September, and we're doing a dedication game for water polo, and then we're going to keep going through different sports this year.
Commissioner Hubble, at SFC, our fall sports and clubs are in full swing. Some of our highlights are varsity football, our new CIF edition women's flag football has our first home game on Friday. Our volleyball team is also playing home games. And we have our first improv club show of the year on September 20th, and our fall production Godspell, which is the first week of November.
Commissioner Crawford, my classes started like a couple weeks ago, and fall sports has started.
All right, thank you, commissioners, for the updates. And with that, we will adjourn this meeting at 5:24 on September 4th.